Here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. It's the orange Protoss player. It's Theodora. And in the top right-hand corner from Chaos Spec Ops, the South African clan, it's Samwise. I think Samwise is North American, but the clan is definitely from South Africa. Some good people, close friends of the Platinum Heroes. What is Samwise's approach to this matchup going to be? PvP can have all kinds of fun twists and turns. It can be an absolutely exciting matchup from the viewer perspective. I think it's a bit frustrating to play because it can feel like rock, paper, scissors at times. His build counters my build. I didn't find his proxy. I lose the game. It's how it can feel sometimes. Let's see if that's what we're looking at this time. Scouting probes sent out from both sides. This isn't their first PvP. They know that's how things tend to go. Want to make sure they're not set up for getting burned. Only one gateway on both sides so far. Let's see if one player tries to do a one gateway opener or something. Something crazy. Only one gas for Theodora with two gases from Samwise. It seems like a small detail, but oh my god, there's just not a lot going on. Nothing really else to point out just yet. Second gateway is on the way for both players, and I think both players are both a little late starting their core. So matching each other mistake for mistake. Samwise a little bit ahead on the core, but not enough to be significant. Theodora throwing down that pylon on the low ground like he has plans to expand soon, and expanding early in a PvP, it's a calculated risk. It can pay off, but it doesn't always. Theodora's scouting probe has been sent to all corners of the map. He's not getting burned by a proxy, at least he hopes not. Neither player looking to proxy though. With our God mode access, we see they're both playing this matchup pretty straight up so far, being cautious with their probe paths to check on typical proxy spots, not looking to get burned, but neither player is going to get burned, which could set up some fun plot lines as we move forward in the series. Samwise adding on a pylon. I mean, not just no tech choices. Both players cranking out some gateway units. No expansions. Just really not a whole lot going on. Theodora continuing to patrol all four corners of the map. Samwise looking like he's thinking about throwing this Nexus. Is that the plan? Is that the plan? Yeah, there we go. Nexus thrown down at the natural for Samwise. Before any tech options were selected. No robo. I think that we're about to get some tech. Here we go. A robo facility will be the play from Samwise. Robo also coming out for our orange Protoss, Theodora, but Theodora still has not gone with that expansion. That should, in theory, give him the extra resources he needs to crank out a few extra units, take a really good fight, and punish his opponent. But I don't know. We'll see if that's what he wants to do. He was pretty late to his robo for somebody who still has not expanded. 8 army supply for Theodora, 12 of Samwise. Samwise is down 4 workers, but he's managed to squeeze out his natural early, which should help him close that gap. A forge is on the way. Upgrades are on the menu. A hallucinated oracle going to cause a brief moment of panic for Samwise. After it does not follow, will he see it vanish? He's not going to see it vanish, so Samwise might still be under the false impression that a Stargate was the tech choice from his opponent. Let's see if that becomes a factor moving forward. He got some denied mining time, and let's see if he gets that extra added value of the bait and switch on the tech direction. On the low ground, we got 3 stalkers, we got a sentry. Army supply looking pretty light on both sides. Theodora's natural is about to finish, and he's still got the worker lead. So the gap that Samwise had in the workers will have to be closed through the path of either harassment and damage or chrono boost at this point. Samwise adding immortals to the fray. Not falling for the bait of the fake oracle, not investing in anti-air, not investing in a Stargate of his own. Twilight Council on the way for Samwise. Back on the other side of the map, a Forge as well as a Twilight Council are being added on by Theodora as well. The worker counts are looking even. The army is slightly in favor of Theodora, but he is not looking to get out on the map and take advantage of that, at least not just yet. Will we get a skirmish here on some 2-base versus 2-base, or are we headed to 3 bases and beyond? Theodora setting in another hallucinated Oracle. Let's see if Samwise reacts as extremely as he did last time. Has he even noticed it yet? No overreaction out of Samwise this time. I'm not sure if that's a result of him recognizing that it is hallucinated, or if it's rather just a, I've got some stalkers, it's gonna be fine, I'm not too scared of you. Charge firing up for Theodora, upgrade +1 about to finish for Samwise, so Samwise is going to be walking with an upgrade lead here. He's also going into charge himself. Both players approaching the matchup very passively, very similarly. Interested to see who has a better plan that they are working towards. We look here, if we look at Samwise's point of view, let's look at Samwise. He has not really scouted much. He's scouted more, but not really that much. He doesn't know what's going on here. Actually, that's a pretty good scout. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, if we look at Theodora's point of view, also a pretty good scout. So both players kind of know what's going on here. Another Oracle headed through the main to scout. Going to get a good look at all the tech. 2 Oracles coming from both sides. I think the ship has sailed on this, scaring your opponent. Probably better to go with the hallucinated Phoenixes at this point. Probably a little too liberal with that use of energy from the Oracles. But I like that he keeps a mind on scouting. Has either player gone into Storm? Neither player's gone into Storm. Archons are going to be the tech choice here from Samwise. Theodora taking a very interesting 3rd base location, much harder to defend and really concave around this 3rd base location. But also there's the chance your opponent does not check there for your 3rd base because it is not the optimal place to place it. Time's going to tell on that front. Workers are in favor of Samwise. It's really just been a matter of chrono boost and who's been remembering to make workers. Neither person really able to make any meaningful progress on that front. There's an army from Theodora here posturing towards the north side like it wants to move in and get some damage done. But I think with the Archons of Samwise, this is going to prove to be a risky move. There is 1 extra Immortal here for Theodora, and Immortals are very good units, but these 2 Archons I think are going to make this a very difficult place to push in alongside the Defender's advantage and down on army supply. I'm not sure Theodora wants this fight, but he's going for it anyways. He's inching forward, and now this entire army together. Charge Lot's getting in towards the mineral line, pulling the entire army back with F2, not looking to get that economic damage during the fight. Recognizing that he is outgunned and outnumbered, he will back off, but not before getting 7, 9, 10 probes. Where are all these probes dying? Back at the natural, he was able to sneak in here. This was all a bait and switch. The entire fight, this entire push, I missed him moving in with the Warp Prism. This is where the real damage is gotten. The Warp Prism has warped in charge lots, it has warped in DTs that are absolutely wreaking havoc. 26 probes have fallen. Samwise, frustrated, moving forward out onto the map, chasing this army, trying to hope that he has enough forces to steamroll his opponent. He now has DTs in his main that are continuing to do damage, chewing through his infrastructure. Samwise not choosing to recall. Instead, he is marching his entire army back. He has idle workers hanging out on the map. He's lost a base. This multi-pronged harassment has proven to be a tall order for him to deal with. And who can blame Samwise for falling victim to the tunnel vision towards his 3rd base? I have God view, and I was not able to see what I could see. So it's definitely an understandable mistake to have. And Samwise's army moving into his main base, trying to deal with these DTs, but unable to see the enemy. Is there a robo? No detection, no robo. That's GG. Oh, there we go. Samwise does have a single observer that will finally arrive on the scene to help clean up these DTs. Every single DT will die, but look how much damage they were able to get in the meantime. Samwise down to 96 supply. He lost so many pylons and so many probes in that exchange. Down to 35 probes, down to 2 bases, trying to get a third nexus back up and running. Third nexus for Theodora is not only up and running, but it is secure. Theodora with a commanding lead in this Game 1 PvP matchup here in the quarterfinals of Diamond Heroes 5. Samwise's army looming to the north, looking to get some damage of his own. He has a pretty intimidating army considering the losses that he just had economically. Even bringing his workers with him, knowing this is a desperate last all-in chance to get back into this game. And the Immortals and Archons on the back line of Theodora are proving to be too much to handle. Supporting his forces with another round of charge lots, he is chasing off the army of Samwise, and while this fight looks close, it looks like Samwise might even get the better of this fight. He is not going to be left with enough of his forces to get the damage that he needs. 3 DTs moving in. They will not be spotted. There's no observer here from Samwise. They're going to chase these Immortals back home. Let's see if they're able to get any casualties on their way. Another warping at the natural for Samwise. 4 Zealots headed into the main, looking to get into all kinds of trouble. Once again, targeting down pylons. Will supply block the man. GG is called. Theodora is going up 1-0 in the series. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream, looking to close out the series 2-0. It's Theodora. And the bottom left-hand corner from CSO in purple, it's the Protoss player, Samwise. So as far as PvPs go, while both players hung in there, and it ended up being, I thought Samwise was in a very strong position, but the multi-prong attack hitting in more than one location at once from Theodora proved to be too much for Samwise to deal with. Will he go for a similar approach in this game? Does Samwise have any tricks that he might pull out? Let us observe and see for ourselves. Scouting probes will cross each other right near the center of the map. Very uniform. Honestly, it's a relief to see when you see the opponent's scout going to a weird place or coming from a weird angle. It can be a little nerve-wracking. Two gateways on each side. Core on the way, nothing weird, no probes going to any weird places just yet. Samwise's scouting probe is taking an odd path back. Is it trying to stash and maybe come back for another scout later? Or does he have intentions of dropping a pylon on his opponent's side of the map? Let's find out. No pylon yet, just sort of hanging out. The aggressively placed probe from Theodora also just sort of hanging out. Two stalkers on both sides. Really, these players going tit for tat. Supply, a little more efficiency out of Samwise so far. He has been able to nudge out a supply lead for himself. But yeah, not significant. Not significant. Worker counts are even. 32 to 39 or to 29. Not going to be a significant enough supply lead to really snowball. Excuse me. Oh, I got hit with the yawns. Excuse me there. All right, so in the natural, Samwise posturing like he wants to get that nat up. He did get his nat up earlier last time, but he ended up not really gaining much from it. Moving out onto the map with 4 stalkers. On the other side of the map waiting for him is one Stalker and a Sentry, which would be a favorable fight for Samwise. 2 more Stalkers are about to pop, as well as a Robo facility, but yeah, Theodora might have some problems here. He neglected to invest in any static defenses. 4 Stalkers just really not that scary, though. Samwise has propped up this aggressive push with a pylon in an aggressive location, but then the probe's gone home. So I think instead of putting tech out here, he just wants, yeah, an aggressive place to warp in. He's looking to hit with an early amount of Blink Stalkers that'll catch his opponent off guard. It's really, really important for Samwise that this push hits, like, very soon, before this Immortal gets out. This Immortal is absolutely going to decimate any Stalkers. But here we go. Stalkers moving in. This is a heavy Stalker count. They're going to have an opportunity to really thin out the numbers here. First Stalker falls from Theodora before he really knows what's going on. Sentry trying to get away. A little bit of miss micro there, but the Sentry is going to fall. Another Stalker is not long for this world, and they are at a point where they can 2-shot these Stalkers. And even with that Immortal about to pop, did they do enough damage in the meantime? Body blocking are these workers for the Immortal, who needs to do the heavy lifting and clearing out these Stalkers. 3 workers have fallen so far. A 4th falls as well. 5 workers fall. Workers continuing to chase these Stalkers outside their own natural. Possibly time to consider going back to work, but they are content with their path, and their path is the body block for the Immortal. Immortal finally able to get to a point where it feels comfortable fighting these Stalkers without backup, but the Immortal may have overestimated its own capabilities. It's bouncing away. It has just a sliver of health remaining. Very lucky to keep that Immortal alive. The second Immortal has not been queued up. During this fight, Samwise has gotten a nice worker lead. He's up 11 workers, 33 to 23. He's in a good position. The Immortal's going to fall to the Stalkers. Absolutely huge play here by Samwise. Very opportunistic, catching his opponent off guard, continuing to kite back with these Stalkers, taking out worker after worker in the process. These workers are doing a great job keeping him alive, but every worker that falls is potential income that is going to hurt him in the long run. And Samwise isn't super all in on this. He has a second base at home. He's not even down bases on his opponent. The Sentry falls. More Stalkers are warped in aggressively. The Shield Battery doing its best to keep everyone alive, but as they kite backwards, the Shield Battery will no longer be in range to help. Full surrounds on a couple of these Stalkers from the workers are going to reset the count. They are going to ease the pressure for the time being, but check out that supply, 53 to 28. Samwise looking like he's in a pretty strong position here to even things out moving into the next game. Back at home, he has a Robo of his own. He has a Forge and Twilight finishing up. He's going into the upgrades, and he's just going to have more money to do it with. 41 workers to 23 is a nice lead. This early pressure was able to get enough damage done to justify the investment, to justify the pylon across the map. Stalkers continuing to outnumber his opponents, dancing out in front of his base, grabbing the low-hanging fruit of this pylon that was placed a little bit too far forward. They will take it for their troubles, adding on a couple more Stalkers. Eyes are now placed on the Shield Battery. The Shield Battery will be enough to keep these Stalkers alive through bombardment, but it is now out of energy. Full surround on a Stalker is going to be a nice little addition, but here we go. Samwise adding an Immortal to the picture is probably going to seal things out here. The workers are falling. Nothing here to deal with this. GG is called. 1-1. We're going to a deciding map. Well played by Samwise. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Simulacrum, looking to get back to the results from Game 1 and close this series out. It's the orange Protoss Theodora. In the top left-hand corner, representing the CSO clan tag, trying to get into the semifinals, it's Samwise. So I played against Samwise. I played against. I'm gonna be full disclosure here. Samwise is someone who Grumpy Gills, have interacted with. He was in my group of JSL. We were both undefeated when we matched off in JSL, and I was able to take him down. And I got a soft spot in my heart. I'm hoping to see him take this in game number 2. But Theodora is not me, and Theodora has other plans. He wants to go to those semifinals, and I'm sure he has a strategy in store to make sure he gets there. second gateway starting up for Theodora, as well as Samwise. Like clockwork, these two players, match for match in the beginning, are within inches of each other. Theodora sending his scout in. His scout's going to poke a little bit at the gateway, say, hi, I'm here. And now I'm leaving. Samwise's scout taking a look around. Now let's keep an eye on that mini-map. Where is that orange dot going? Is the orange dot going home, or is the orange dot headed somewhere naughty? Well, spoiler alert, he looks like he may be headed somewhere naughty. He's headed towards the northern side of the map, looking for possibly a place to throw down some proxy technology. He also could just be looking for the proxy of his opponent. So we'll see how that works out. Samwise also sending his probe into a suspicious location. There we go. Pylon's been started for Theodora. What's Samwise going to do? Is he going to start a proxy pylon of his own, or is he just trying to buy some time before he goes back in, gets another look around at his opponent's base? Will a tech option be added on to this proxy pylon? It's not in a super aggressive position. A proxy Stargate is going to be the play, so that will potentially be able to get oracles to this mineral line a good bit quicker than if the Stargate was at home. It's also less likely to get scouted. Samwise has opted to pull this probe home. He's not dropping any proxy tech, not yet anyways. No proxy shenanigans planned for him in, well, alright, 2 stalkers to the south, but that's not proxied. I think he's looking for his opponent's proxy. That's exactly what he's doing. Looking around to make sure his opponent didn't proxy anything, and I mean, his opponent didn't proxy anything in that aggressive position by his third base, but there will be proxy tech, and let's see if Samwise is in a position to deal with it. No tech choices have been made for Samwise just yet. Even if the Stargate was at home, his tech is a good bit behind his opponents. A robo facility will finally be started up. Natural expansion about a quarter of the way done, so that's an early nat in a PvP. The early nat, it's really going to depend on how much damage this Oracle gets. This Oracle needs to get a decent bit of damage to make up for the fact that the natural base for our orange Protoss is later. Stalkers moving out in the map, but they will find the 3 Stalkers in Sentry waiting for them to be a little bit of a mismatch. It's simply a numbers game. 3 Stalkers plus 3 Stalkers and Sentries. The ones with the Sentries will win, but let's see if they're able to snag any units. Not really focusing their fire. 1 Stalker from Theodora is going to die for free. While this is going on, though, it's merely the distraction. Oracle's headed towards the main. Oracle's going to turn on that laser, and the workers will start to fall. 5 fall before we can even blink. 7 workers have fallen already. Running out of energy is this Oracle, but it was going to go looking for a little more. Oracle does escape with its life, albeit just barely, as well as the lives of 7 probes. That'll put Theodora in the worker lead. His Nexus is finishing up, so while his Nexus was behind, he's going into this stage of the game. Oh, no more worker lead. Oh, still worker lead. 27, 29, I'm just dyslexic. It's a small worker lead. It's pretty much to even things out. Stalkers headed home for Theodora, and settle in, folks. I think both of these players are settling in to try and scale up a bit, to scale up that production, get into a death ball, a movable army. They're looking for the Archons, the Immortal Counts. It's going to be a bit of a ride for us here. Twilight Council on the way for Samwise. No Twilight Council for Theodora, so if more time passes, that lack of a Twilight Council could mean lack of charge. It could mean lack of the Templar Archives to get into the Archons. Oracle ventures a little bit too far forward. It is able to land a revelation before meeting its untimely end. Proxy Gate from Theodora cranked out that 1 Oracle, but has been idle ever since. Back at home, he's expanding, he's throwing a Forge down, he's got a Twilight Council on the way. He's looking to get into a more traditional Protoss army. I didn't really get the damage from that proxy to seal him in the game. If anything, the proxy really just made it that it evened out the decision. Samwise took the economic cheese of the faster expansion, and he lost some workers, kind of evened things out. Theodora getting out on the map, looking to place some pylons. Just looking around for shenanigans more than anything else. Not going to find anything, but a healthy distrust of his opponent, to say the least. Templar Archives about halfway done for Samwise as his charge, his Templar Archons, his Templar Archives, he gets some Archons added in. As this stuff starts finishing up, he's going to be getting towards an army that he feels more comfortable moving out onto the map with. The army supply right now is in favor of Theodora, albeit only slightly. Theodora's army is Stalker heavy though, Stalker and Zealot heavy. 3 Immortals though, nothing to shake a stick at. 3 Immortals is you don't want to just move into 3 Immortals without very, very strong forces. Hallucinated Oracle comes in. Will it garner the type of reaction that he is hoping? It will not. It takes a look around. Even after the presence of real Oracles, the Hallucinated Oracle not to be taken seriously. Samwise investing in a 3rd base, almost halfway done. 3rd base, almost halfway done. Theodora not thinking about a 3rd base from what I can tell. I think he's thinking about killing his opponent, but I'm not sure that that'll go the way he's hoping. Nine worker lead for Samwise. Theodora once again looking to hit the type of multi-prong that was able to get him where he is today. This army is going to move. He's got 2 warp prisms. He's going to move this army towards the middle here. The army is going to dance back and forth with the army of Samwise. The army of Samwise is scarier, don't get me wrong, but while this back and forth dance is going on, he's not looking to actually engage. Theodora is going to be looking to pull the army out of position. Look, it already starts. Samwise says, great, I got the prism. I don't have to worry about the prism now, but there is another prism on the scene. Samwise warping in, using his weapons at his 3rd base. Does leave 2 Stalkers in the main. 2 Stalkers will do a nice job chasing this warp prism around, but are they going to be able to shut this down completely? I'm not sure Samwise has spotted this on his mini-map because he's not reacting. He's not looking like, oh, there we go. He's pulling Stalkers in the Observer in a position to keep an eye on this warp prism. He's not fallen quite so easily to the multi-prong this time around. Just 2 Stalkers left at home, able to really cancel out a lot of the plans that Theodora had. Theodora down significantly in supply, moving in down here towards the 3rd base. Theodora able to warp in at the main. This warp-in is going to be able to get on top of that mineral line before the static defenses are available to stop him. Down will fall the workers. F2ing his army back and forth is Samwise, not stopping things on either end. This is looking very similar to game 1 so far, but now the fight's getting a little bit dicey. Theodora needs to think twice about fighting with this army of Samwise head up, but he's taking the fight, taking it for too long. He's bleeding units, 1 Immortal. Barely alive. These charge lots are going to make kiting backwards and getting away incredibly difficult. Another Immortal is going to fall for free, but 19 workers have fallen in the main base of Samwise. These charge lot warpins are continuing to do work. 20 workers have fallen and counting. 23 workers have fallen. Samwise counting on this. The value he's getting as units continue to be bled out by Theodora on the retreat. He is counting on this value. Samwise, despite losing 26 workers, still up in workers in this game. Shutting down a key pylon is going to help with the slowing down the production of Samwise, but now Samwise is at the front door of Theodora, and he has an intimidating force. Shield battery doing its best to keep everything alive. 2 Archons will be morphed into a hellscape of a world. Not going to be enough to defend. The splash damage from these Archons mows through the defending workers who are pulled from their duties to defend the homeland, but the homeland will fall on this day. GG is called. Samwise headed to the semifinals.